to pastry chef school is when my sister turned 18, for her birthday, I made her some really good cupcakes. They had Reese cups on top. It was a recipe that I'd seen as a little girl that I really wanted to make. Always loved to bake just with family as really just a hobby. It's a very good de-stressor for me, and I made these cupcakes for my sister, and how my family loved them and how it made her so happy, it became my passion. And then whenever I got older, I just started making cakes and stuff for family and friends, just everybody really that I could. And I always got such good compliments from everyone saying that I needed to make it a profession. And after I lost my job due to COVID, I went to Facebook and I was just scrolling one day, and I'd been considering going back to school, and I saw an ad on there that was about online pastry chef school, and it just blew my mind. I was very intrigued because the thought that you could do pastry chef school online was just very interesting to me, because around here in a rural area we don't really have that as an option. So I just requested more information, and I was contacted, and I went through the process of getting the pamphlet and everything, and before I knew it, I was enrolled and starting in August. The process of creating an edible masterpiece starts with the mise en place, which is, it's French for everything in its place. Because in order to do any recipe, the biggest thing is to start with all of your ingredients measured out, ready to go, so the process goes smoothly and you don't accidentally do the wrong measurements of something, because I've done that before. And that can be a little bit difficult, like it makes things not go smoothly. So you start with the mise en place, everything in its place, and then you start with mixing your ingredients, and then if there's a cooking process, of course you got to bake or cook, whatever, and then you go to the decorating process and then the boxing process. My favorite part of the process of making my art would have to be the decorating. I love the decorating. It's the best part, honestly. It's the part that brings me the most joy, because I get to incorporate a little bit of my creative side. I'm very much into arts, but I'm terrible at drawing or doodling and everything. My brother's great at drawing, so cooking and baking is where my artistic abilities shine through. Decorating cakes and desserts and plating, that's where I get my artistic touch. That's where I like to express myself, and just seeing the overall outcome of a product from simple ingredients turning into a beautiful masterpiece has to be my favorite part. It's pretty difficult, especially with young kids. Right now, I'm baking from home, so it's hard to balance the kids and baking out of my home kitchen. So oftentimes, I'll be in the process of baking a cake or loaves of bread or something, and my son will come in, and whenever we bake stuff home for the family, I always let him help me. So when I'm doing my orders, he wants to help and jump in, and I won't let him. So we have a little bit of a conflict there. So I have to find ways to occupy him and keep him out of the kitchen to keep his little toddler fingers off of things. It can be. I have some pretty good customers, some very regular customers who come with me for any event that they have, and then also just if they're craving some of my sweets. But it is difficult to find a large clientele in a rural area with so many different people who offer the same kind of products that I offer. So you have to find ways to be original and to really just develop a good relationship with your clientele to keep them coming. I think that having an online presence has affected my business in a positive way. I have reached some clientele in areas outside of this county, which has really been beneficial. Being able to post the things that I create online and having so many followers to my page has really been able to let me expand my business and just show people what I can do. And also, it has a lot of local people rooting for me to open my own bakery one day and not have to be working out of home. So it is very beneficial. I've reached a lot of people I wouldn't have otherwise been able to reach without having my online presence. In one word, I would describe the art I create as delicious. It's just great how you can take such simple ingredients and turn it into something just so flavorful. You get little hints of every flavor in there, and together they just create a masterpiece. One of my favorites is the chocolate chip cookie. Something so little as sugar, butter, flour, chocolate, eggs can make just something so amazing. Try one. The most difficult thing I've made for a client so far would probably be my sister's wedding cake. I made homemade donuts to put on that wedding cake, and I had some transportation issues with transporting the cake to the wedding site and everything. So, overall, it was a difficult process, but I pulled through, and the cake managed to turn out perfect, and she loved it. My favorite thing I baked for one of my customers so far would have to again be my sister. I made a baby shower cake for her, and I hand sculpted these little teddy bears out of fondant. They had lots of details, and I put the teddy bears on the cake so that they looked as if they were eating the cake and eating their way out of the cake. I didn't have a reference photo for this cake in particular. She kind of just gave me creative freedom. So being able to really do my own thing with that and come up with such an amazing finished product was really enjoyable, and it's one of my favorites still. Baking to me means spreading happiness through food. I love just the joy that fresh baked goods can bring to people. I remember as a little girl, I would go to school, and if I had a bad day, I'd come home, and something so simple as making a fresh pan of brownies with my grandmother would just change my day entirely to just such a good day. There's nothing like the warm feeling that a fresh cookie or brownie can bring to you, and just being able to share that with my community really brings me joy.
I think Alyssa's food is great. It's just as beautiful as it is delicious, and vice versa. It she pays so much attention to detail, and she gets it all right. The taste, the texture, it's I don't know. She really is gifted. She's made some really great cakes for all the events like that I've had, like both my baby showers, my wedding cake, um, my engagement cake. My husband actually proposed to me with one of her cakes, and it was they were all beautiful and delicious. I would recommend Alyssa's top tier treats to anyone because she doesn't just make like a cute birthday cake. She has also made really great bread. I've had some delicious homemade brioche bread, some jam. Like she made blueberry jam that was so good. And one of my favorite things that I've had of hers was just a chocolate truffle that was amazing. Melt in your mouth, delicious. And it was not for an occasion at all. It was just because. I would say she is so good at what she does, and it's not just that she, you know, it's not just a like work for her. She enjoys it. She puts so much care into it, and she really pays attention to what you want and brings that to life. The reason I would choose Alyssa's Top Tier Treats is because not only is she an artist who creates beautiful food, she goes above and beyond what you even expected. She loves what she does, and it shows in her work. Made it so fun and so pretty. Like she had a bear eating, like there were bears sticking out of the cake, and it was delicious. The fondant work was flawless, and it was so good. I don't even like fondant, and I ate the fondant. I ate the teddy bears.